All right. Well, going into the main topics for the night, our first topic is Kick-Ass is apparently going to be getting a reboot. Don't expect any of the original characters coming back, which is interesting because apparently Vaughn has stated that he would like to make a Kick-Ass 3 if this does well, which doesn't make sense if
It
you're
doesn't.
rebooting
Yeah,
it.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
agree.
make sense if you're rebooting it. So it's just one of those things. Is like, don't get me wrong, I would love another Kick-Ass movie. The great thing about the first Kick-Ass was like, yeah, it's ultimately making fun of superheroes and that kind of aspect of it. But the surprising gore and some of the like really, which granted, I don't think you can get really away with some of the dirty humor that they got away with back then. Way too many people are gonna be, especially half of Hit Girls die like, oh my god.
Well,
But
if I remember correctly, isn't Kick-Ass based off a comic series?
it
Yep.
is.
So
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like I'm glad Matthew Vaughn is coming back to this because he did make the first one really, really good, and he was sorely missed for the second one. Don't get me wrong, I have a soft spot for the second one.
the second one was good.
It was okay. It wasn't as good, but it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah. So him making a reboot and
Reboot.
then wanting to do a Kick-Ass 3, that just doesn't make any sense. It'd just be.
yeah, it
It's just.
doesn't mesh, you know.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
like
confused.
yeah, if the
Unless
reboot
you-
does
It's
well,
the
then you're gonna have to continue the reboot.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the here's that thing you really like,
Uh,
just different.
yeah, I
And we
guess.
might actually continue the thing you like as well.
Well, and it's a reboot, so I don't know if it's going to be following. Maybe another person takes up the Kick-Ass mantle. I don't know if it's going to be following the first movie. We really don't
Yeah,
know
there's
much
just-
of anything about it.
Yeah. It was
The
just
the
an
term
announcement.
reboot is a bit vague at this point.
Exactly. Now, am I excited about a possible another Kick-Ass movie? Absolutely. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
I'd love to see somebody explore this again. You know, the biggest problem with the second one was it went too big too quickly
Mhm.
compared to the first one. The first
Yeah,
one
the
knew
way-
to keep it
The way
steady.
Kick-Ass 2 kind of went, it looked like it should have been like a two-parter.
I wouldn't go as far as like a two-parter, but I would go as far to say it should have been the third movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Like you could have done another movie in between. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad we got Kick-Ass 2 the way we did. I had both those movies, but it's just one of those things. Is like, I don't know. I feel like it should have been the third movie, and then of course they obviously tease a third movie. But
Yeah.
good luck getting Aaron Taylor Johnson back. Definitely good luck getting Curly Gates Moretz back. The only person I think you could really get back is Christopher Mintz-Please as motherfucker. That's really about it. You know, yeah, I think he's one of the few actors that you get. Jim, and of course, the other problem with Kick-Ass 2 was Jim Carrey kind of denounced the movie because a school shooting happened before the movie came out, and he's like, "Don't go see this movie; it's too violent." And it's like, dude, you couldn't have fucking waited. Like, come on, man! You don't disown your movie. Just, I don't know. And it'd be
I can kind of see the reasoning though.
Mhm.
I can too, but like the funny thing is he even said like his character does a lot of violence. I'm like, yeah, he beats the shit out of people, and yes, he does have a gun because apparently his big thing was an anti-gun status. But I'm like, your character in the movie has a gun. Yes, it is not loaded. It is just a intimidation piece. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. It's like, okay, but your character arguably does advocate for less violence, for, you know, violence when it's necessary, basically. And yeah, I don't know. That's a whole
But
other spiel.
we've seen those messages can be twisted by the viewers.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it
Oh, yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am not at all saying that it cannot, but yeah, it's just one of those things, I guess.
It'll be interesting where he
Yeah.
goes with this version of Kick-Ass.
That's kind of
If
what I'm
it's-
getting at, yeah.
If it's what he's saying, he wants to do a complete reboot. But if it's good, why just make another Kick-Ass 2? Just make it better instead of going back to the original and doing Kick-Ass 3. It just it's confusing.
Okay. On that note, coming from the standpoint of a DM who relishes story over combat, if I feel like, yeah, my story can be better, but just not as it is, I'm perfectly okay with going back and redoing it.
Yeah.
And that might be the direction this is.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. But still, him saying that if it does good, I will make Kick-Ass 3. That's where it's throwing me off. And I think that's throwing a lot of fans off.
A little bit. I don't know. It is what it is.
We'll see what happens.
We'll just have to wait and see.
That we will.